Hey guys, welcome back to Decimals with me. Just kidding, I realize that's very weird and I should never do it again. So today we are going to do some review on decimals and switching from those fractions to the decimal form, what those place values look like, and I'm going to give you some other practice problems to do as well. Guys, even though that they're practice and they're optional, I really hope that you're doing them because on their Thursday, that means we would have done it last week, and we're going to do it most of this week. And at the end of this week, you are going to be required to do a decimal assessment, which is going to be for a grade. So if you are not doing these practice problems and you don't feel comfortable and you're not at a level 4 or at least a level 3 understanding, then you're going to have trouble doing that assessment, and it's not going to look like you understand the material. So if you are doing these and you are getting stuck and you are getting confused, obviously you can go back and rewatch any of the videos that I've posted, or you are more than welcome to contact one of your teachers or myself. Let us help you so you understand rather than just blowing through it, because I know this isn't fun. It's not fun for me to do these videos either. It's not my favorite. I would much rather be up at school with yo cute faces, but it's super important. It's super important that you are watching the entire videos. You're listening to all the instruction that you can get, and then you're completing anything that's assigned to you and doing those practice problems. So let's get started for today. So let's look at this screen, what's on my screen right here. So it's fractions and decimals. So we're just going to review the place values that there are. And if we're looking at 18 and 5/10. So remember that in order to do this, that first place value right after the decimal is the tenths place with the THS at the end. So this one would look at, well, it's not going to let me. What the world? Oh no. What the world? Well, it's not letting me fill it in. So it should be a 10, 1 10, 8 ones, and then 5/10. Let's see if it lets me on this one. Oh, it hates me. So with this one, it should be 6 ones and then 3/10. And then in the bottom one, it should be 9 ones and 3/10. So it's 18 and 5/10, or 6 and 3/10, or 9 and 6/10. So the main thing I wanted you to see through this, sorry, my dog is being needy. The first thing I wanted you to really see is that first place value after the decimal place is that tenths place. So don't let that confuse you with the next place value, which is the hundredths. It's that first place value right after the decimal right here. This column is the tenths place. So let's look at this slide, and hopefully this one lets me type. I don't know why the other one wouldn't. So this one shows you the fraction form. So that means 3/10. If we wanted to write that in decimal form, you would do that right here. So that means if it's 3/10, what place value is that 3 going to be in? The place value right after the decimal. So you would do decimal 3, so that's 3/10. And then that word form is going to be just like I just said it. So you're going to type the number 3 and then the place value that it's in, tenths. So the word form for 3/10 is 3/10. Then you have that unit form. So it's wanting you to break those apart into just like you would if you were on this slide. So what is in each place value? So that means for this unit form, is there any ones? Nope, but there's only what place value do we need? Just 3 in the tenths place. That's it. It's the only unit that there is. So now we're going to do this one together. So this one only gives us the unit form. So that means we have 6 ones and 7/10. So let's fill out the fraction first, because the fraction's a little bit easier for me than doing the decimal. So if I know that I have 6 ones, what's going to go right here? Yeah, I have 6 wholes. So I'm going to just put a 6 there. And then 7/10. So just as it sounds, I'm going to do 7 out of 10. So 7/10. Now, that kind of helps me go back and do the rest. So now when I go to standard form or that decimal form, I know that it's 6 ones and 7/10. So I have 6 wholes and 7/10. So it's 6 and 7/10. Then the word form is just how I said it. So 6 and 7/10. And you don't have to put a period. So by doing this, I want you guys to be able to come back and reference it. I want you to pause the video for a second and try to fill out the next column before we do it together. Okay, so I hoped you paused the video, and I hoped you I hope you solved this next row. So it says 1 and 9/10. Like I said, the fraction is a lot easier for me, and then it helps me kind of do the other columns. So I'm going to do the fraction first. So in this fraction, it's 1 and 9/10. If you look at the column above it where it said 6 and 7/10, well, I know if it's 1 and, that means I have to have a whole number. So I know that my whole number has to be 1 and then what did I have? 9/10. So that means I'm going to have 9/10 as my, oh gosh, 9/10. There we go, as my fraction. So now, just like I did up there, 6 and 7/10, 1 and 9/10 is going to look very, very similar. I have one whole, and means I have a decimal, and then that first place value is that tenths place value. So that means I'm just going to have 9/10. So it's telling you which place value that 9's going in. It's kind of helping you. So then if I do unit form, it's going to be the same. I have 1, 1, and then how many tenths? 9. So in 9/10. So now I want you to go ahead and pause it, and I want you to do the next, sorry, it's messing up. And I need you to go ahead and do the next 2 sections, and then I'll do them with you. Okay, so I hope you paused the video again and did the next 2 columns. We're going to do these next 2 columns kind of fast just to kind of check our work. So I really hope you solved them on your own. So if I wanted to do 4 and 5/10 in a decimal form, it would be 4 decimal and 5/10. The words would be just like I'm saying them. So 4 and 5/10. And then the unit form would be 4 ones and 5/10. Ooh, sorry. And then this one gave me the standard form. So this one was trying to trick me, but it didn't work because I know that this one tells me I have 3 wholes and 1/10. So I have 3 wholes and 1 in the tenths place value. So 1/10. And that's going to be the same as in the word form. So 3 and 1/10. And in this last one, it's the same thing. It's going to be in that unit form. So I have 3 ones, because that's what place value the 3 is in, and then 1/10, because that's what place value the 1 is in. So those are all with tenths. Now, if I move, just to kind of refresh our memory, here is 8 and 46/100ths. So the 8, the 27, and the 4 are all in my ones place value or tens place value. It's all in our whole numbers. So that's 8, 27, 4. Those are all the whole numbers that we already know. Now, when we look at the 46/100ths, that means the 4 is in my tenths place and the 6 is in my hundredths place. So it would be 8, 4, 6. 8 and 46/100ths. This is the one I told you guys last week to be really careful with because it's 27 and 3/100ths, not 3/10. Just because there's a 0 there, it makes a big difference. So you have to put a 0 in that place value. So it would be 2 in the tens place, 7 in the ones place, 0 in the tenths place, and that 3 is in the hundreds place. Because just like when we talk about like money, it's going to be 3 pennies out of an entire dollar, which is 100 cents. So if I had 3/10 of a dollar, that would be 30 cents. So 3 cents and 30 cents are very different. So this is just something to kind of refresh your memory. So let's do the same type of grid that we did for tenths, but we're going to do it for hundreds. And then I'm going to give you some practice looking at a model and letting you work through that. So let's do this one together. So if I have 53 hundredths, so basically it's asking you, if I have 53 cents out of a dollar, how would I write that? It would be and, oh, not the question mark, and 53 hundredths. You're going to say the same thing for the word form, so you're just going to say 53 hundredths. And then unit form, do I have any ones in this number? Any whole numbers? I don't. So then I would just say, well, I have 53 hundredths. So you can see that we're saying the exact same thing in all 4 columns for this number. It's just written a little differently. It's written in word form, and it's written in unit form, which actually word form, and I should have done this, sorry. 53 hundredths, sorry. And then we did it in unit form. So now let's go to the next row. Same, I like to do the fractions first. So 3 ones, 4/10, and 800. So this one's trying to trick you. But do I have any whole numbers? Yeah, I have 3 wholes, right? 3 ones, 3 in the ones place. And then I have 4 tenths and 8 hundredths. So if I have 4 tenths and 8 hundredths and I put those together, and I would have 48 hundredths. So I would 4 in the tenths place, 8 in the hundredths place, and it would all be out of 100. So really it would be 4 tenths and 8 hundredths. So it would still be 48 hundredths. It would be the equivalent fraction. So the standard form would be our whole number, our decimal, because it means and. So 3 and 48 hundredths. And the word form would be very similar. So it would be 3 and 48 hundredths. Okay, same as before, I want you to pause the video and then do this third row by yourself and then start back up and we'll check our answers. Okay, let's get started. So this one says 2 and 96 hundredths. So what does this tell me about the number 2 right here? It should tell me that it's my whole number. So I'm going to go over here to fractions because I like fractions better. And I'm going to put a 2 right there. And it's 2 and 96 hundredths. So that means I know that I have 96 out of 100. So my unit form would be 2 ones, because that's what I'm here in the ones place, and then 9 tenths and 6 hundredths, because that's what 96 makes. And then your standard form would be 2 wholes and 96 hundredths. Okay, so I want you to pause the video again and then complete these 2 rows for me. Okay, I hope you paused the video and completed them. We're going to go through them very quickly. So I'm going to start over here. The standard form should have been 6 and don't forget this 0 in the tenths place because it's worth 8 hundredths. So 6 and 8 hundredths. The word form should be very similar. So it should be 6 and 8 hundredths. Ooh, I can't spell today. And then the unit form should be 6 ones, 8 hundredths. Okay, this one says 4 and 17 hundredths. So the word form should be 4 and 17 hundredths. This one, the unit form should be 4 ones, 1 tenths, and 7 hundredths. Oh, and then your fraction should look like I have 4 wholes, and then I have 17 out of 100. 1700. Oh my stars, I keep doing that. Okay, so this you will be able to refer back to this video, but what I want you to do today is this is in your Google Classroom, and it's labeled 421 decimal practice. So once again, this is not mandatory that you do it. It is an optional thing, but it's practice for you, and I would at least do a couple slides. So I'm going to do the first one with you, and then I want you to complete the rest on your own. So it's asking you what fraction and decimal is represented by this model. So really, what is this fraction? What type of block is this? It's a 100 block. And how many are shaded in? Well, I know each row in 100 block is worth 10. So I'm going to count 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I count 56 are shaded in out of my total of 100. So that means I wish I would have 56 out of a total of 100. And then because I know it's 56 hundredths, what decimal is that going to be? Well, hand 56. So that is going to be how you're going to solve all of these. You're going to figure out the fraction, then you're going to convert it to a decimal, okay? That once again, that is in your Google Classroom. It's under your topic digital slides, and it's labeled 421 decimal practice. Please practice. Have a great day, guys.